This is another edition of Still Strong podcast, and I'm sitting here with my three sons.
What's up, everybody? I'm Isaiah Steele.
Hey, what's up? It's Isaac Steele.
I'm Ira Steele. What's up, y'all?
And there is a ton of stuff going on in the football world. As y'all know, we are football fanatics here at Faith Family Football. Want to start with that. First things first, Russell Wilson to the Pittsburgh Steelers. One of the biggest things for us, and I think since Jerome Bettis, since we picked up Jerome, I can't remember what year that was. I was a kid.
Yeah, that was
it was a minute ago.
Late 2000, early 2000.
Yeah, so I was like 10, 11 years old. But we haven't made a free agent move like this since then. How do y'all feel about it?
I'm excited. I think it's a good move. It's definitely an upgrade from currently what we have. Kit Pickett just really kind of stumbled there at the end. You know, of course, he got hurt as well. You know, but it seems like it's taking him a little while to get his rhythm, if you will. And we need a quick fix in that position right now. And for us to play with three different quarterbacks last year, and still, I think if I'm not mistaken, we finished with 10 wins.
Yep, 10-7.
You know, 10-7, which with three different quarterbacks that were not the best, but I think with Wilson, it's definitely an upgrade. And people are still talking about his, 2023 season was pretty horrible. I mean, he still threw 26 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, and didn't have the greatest receivers. You know, so I think with him coming to us, I think we're going to be just fine. I believe I can go online. If we did 10 wins last year, we're going to definitely do about 11 or 12 as long as he stays healthy.
I'd agree with that.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah, how about you?
I think for me, I look at it like this from the standpoint. Kenny is obviously only in his second year, going into his third. We didn't see enough out of him at all. I think when it comes to, obviously he was injured and things like that, which we understand that's football. But when it comes from the standard of NFL football, if you have a good defense, you've only got like a 24-month window to do something. When it comes to, because people get traded, people retire, people end up getting hurt, all kinds of stuff like that. So you got to make a move like this with Russ. And I know Russ is not Seattle Russ. I don't think we're expecting, how he was with the Legion of Boom, and he's lost a step. We know that. But we just need somebody who can manage the game. If Mason Rudolph went out there and won those last three games, marched us into the playoffs, I think Russell can do more, not just that, but more than my boy did. So, in my opinion, I think it's a great move, and I think the city's going to embrace him. You know, the Steel Cities, we big fan base, the Steeler Nation is going to embrace him, which is something good for his mental, because I feel like Denver didn't really welcome him with open arms. I think Denver was kind of had their arms folded the whole time while he was there, and that can mess you up. That can mess you up on the field. We all know, like, that's why they have sports psychologists. Because if your brain isn't operating in a certain way, or those pheromones aren't being met, it can affect your performance on the field. When you have a city like Pittsburgh that's going to back them and love them, win or loss, I think that's going to help. And Seattle is kind of the same way like Pittsburgh. They love football, and the fans they're gonna pick you up instead of shooting you down. You know, unless it's not like Philly. You know what I mean? You throw a couple interceptions over there, they're calling for your job and calling your mom a hoe.
You losing at halftime, they booing you
on everything. Right. It was a little different, so I'm excited for it, man. I am.
I'm excited for Russ too, and he beat some good teams last year. He beat the Chiefs, who was the Super Bowl champions. Who else did he beat? That was good.
I know his
like
division.
4 teams in a row.
I think they beat every team in their division.
They were rolling to a point.
They low key were supposed to make the playoffs. They just blew that last game against the Patriots.
They lost to Texans too. That was a big
that hurt them.
But I think Russ is gonna do well. And like if you look at the Seattle Seahawks offense, that like pro style drop back,
run
pocket
heavy
stuff, run heavy. That's exactly what we do with Najee Harris, Jalen Warren. I feel like Russell Wilson's gonna tap into that and do a lot better job than Pickett. It's good to have Kenny Pickett as a backup, though, because I ain't going to lie. When he was a backup, he shined. He did. But right when he got in that spotlight, I feel like it got to his head, which is bringing up the sports psychologist stuff. And on top of that, Russell Wilson, he was dealing with that Sierra crap, that Future stuff. People bumping Future in the locker room. It was a lot in his head. Remember, I don't know if y'all remember that, but I feel like, since that's worn down and he finished his season there in Denver all right. It wasn't the best, but it was all right. 26 touchdowns, 8 picks. But I feel like when he comes to the Steelers with better receivers, with a better O-line, he'll do great. I feel like we get 11, 12 wins straight up.
And most importantly, we didn't break the bank. You know what I mean? We didn't go out here and
league
spend.
minimum.
And that's what I'm saying. When he went to Denver in the first place, like I still remember him going to Denver Broncos. There was so much pressure on his shoulders. Like this guy was the Messiah, basically. Like deliver us the championship like Peyton Manning did. And he came in there with a bad team, you know, not a bad, terrible head coach until they got Sean Payton. And we saw what happened this year with Sean Payton. You could see Payton was holding him back, wasn't even letting him really do his own thing. Kind of like he was kind of being weird even when he first came on. Like, we're going to my way or the highway type thing.
It was almost like he was trying to sabotage him.
Like, we don't like how Russ is acting. We're going to, like, switch it up. And, you know, clearly we see Sean Payton as a Drew Brees merchant. Like, Drew Brees was the one carrying him through all this season. So, you know, so I don't like how Sean Payton of the Broncos did him in the first place. So I think him coming to Pittsburgh is a fresh start. You know, like I said, we're not paying him much. We're paying him, I think, $1.3 million, something like that.
Yeah.
And, of course, the Broncos got to pay him like $38 million this year, something like that. Right. So it's no pressure. It's basically... It's kind of a win-win for us, you know.
It is.
If Russ comes to us and doesn't do his thing, it's not the end of the world. We don't get nothing. We don't lose nothing out of it. Yeah. And if he does ball for us, then you know we're gonna have 3-4 years of him potentially leading us back to getting that ring number 7. So between our defense, of course, our defense isn't the Seahawks Legion of Boom team,
right? But
we have we have dynamic players. You know, you have a defensive player of the year in T.J. Watt. Yeah. You got all pro safety. You know, we got. Rookie of the Year finalist Joey Porter at corner. You know, we need another DB.
Don't forget about Patrick Queen, man. We just signed him.
Just signed Patrick. Shout out to Patrick Queen. Just signed Patrick Queen. He was an All-Pro backer last year. We needed an inside backer since we lost Ryan Shazier. He can fill that void. So I think a person, and of course, back to the Seattle squad, you can almost say Jalen Warren and Najee Harris are kind of like a beast mode in one. You know what I mean? Like, they're not beast mode, but them two can kind of make
beast
up.
And then
mode. I'm saying. So them, you know, that tandem is kind of like it's kind of reminiscent of those old Seahawks squad. Y'all know how it was. Pro style. We're going to run the rock, play action, and our defense is going to clean up the rest. So I think Russell coming to us with a new start, fresh mindset, fan base rocking behind him, you know, great coach in Mike Tomlin. I think it could be good. I won't be shocked. I won't be shocked if we have kind of like the Buccaneers last year with Baker Mayfield. The Bucs were 2-3 plays away from the conference championship. And you know what I mean? And Baker was chopped liver type. He went from
they was writing them off.
He went from the Browns to the Panthers to the Rams. You know, got that deal with the Bucs. Just signed a 2-3 year deal with them. So I think Russ coming to us is great. Definitely an upgrade from Kenny Pickett. Kenny wasn't making the best passes last year. Pocket presence wasn't good, but I'm still not giving up on him because, like I said, we signed Russ for this year. Isaac said it. He, you know, Pickett might have some fire under his butt. So hopefully he learns from a Super Bowl champion. Should be 2-time Super Bowl champion, Russell Wilson.
Should be.
You know,
that's slant.
And we'll see where it goes. I'm really excited about it. I really am, you know. At the same time, I ain't up here talking about some, you know,
we're going to New Orleans.
It's our year.
We're going to be in New Orleans.
I just bought my New Orleans ticket. No. I'm not getting wild. I try to be a realistic fan. You know, I try.
Exactly.
But, you know, I think we're all excited about it. And we'll see what happens, man. Just hopefully have a good draft and pick up some more pieces.
Yeah, and it's our first time with a real, like, running quarterback or like kind of like a dual threat. Yeah, he might have lost a step or two, but man, he can still get out the pocket. He can get us some extra yards if we need it. And I'm excited for that.
It'd be good for us just to see somebody for the Steelers extend the play because we haven't seen it since Ben.
Since about 2013.
And even when Ben would escape, it was kind of funny.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
There
was no finesse. It was just someone running from a bear.
All I know is this though. I think, for real, literally like someone escaping an animal.
For real.
All I know is this. I told y'all this earlier too, man. I need George Pickens and Russell Wilson finishing. I need them finishing each other's sentences.
Yeah, man.
I need them to have that type of chemistry, like that Kobe and Shaq chemistry straight up. And of course, like I said, with play action, the play action ability with Warren and Najee Harris, like I think a George Pickens over the top can really tear the league up. Because he led the league last year in yards per reception. You know, minimum 100 catches. Like he was number 1 in yards a catch. So he was the most explosive player last year per catch. So I think a guy like Russell, George Pickens with our running game could be something nice. Straight up.
I think it'd be good. And let's not forget, the only person I think that can throw a better deep ball than Russell is Aaron Rodgers. So if we can get the deep ball to George Pickens like we're expecting to, I mean, the sky's the limit. But hey, we're still a long ways away. We haven't even drafted yet, so you know we'll definitely be touching on this topic as we get closer.
It's a big draft
towards September. It's huge draft
20th pick
for us.
I like the fact too that we've made 2 big moves with the linebacker McQueen.
Queen. Patrick
then,
Queen
and with Wilson. So I'm excited about our future.
Huge. Shout out Omar Khan, man. You in your
shout
bag,
out to Omar
bro.
Khan, man. But this ain't the old Steelers. Because remember the old Steelers, we wasn't making no moves. You know, kind of like the Cowboys. You know, I ain't trying to throw shit at the Cowboys, but Jerry Jones think his stuff don't stink, so he not gonna go out. I'm gonna trust my draft picks. No,
the Cowboys drafted. I'm sorry, they just picked up Cat Williams. They said.
Yeah, they said Kirk Franklin. They done signed Kirk Franklin to the team.
And Kirk Franklin.
Yeah. So yeah, we not the Steelers of old. We making moves.
They had
We
no
not
running
going.
back, huh?
Nope.
No,
they got
no
Deuce
running
Vaughn.
back.
They got to figure out what they're gonna do.
They had talks with Zeke trying to bring him back type stuff. I was like,
that
man,
might be a good move.
Man,
Yeah,
sometimes you got to circle the block.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, man, Derrick Henry to Baltimore. That hurt my feelings. I'm not going to lie. Obviously, that's us in our same division. We got to play that brother twice a year now. For the Dirty Birds up there in Baltimore. How did y'all feel about that when you heard about
dude,
it?
I was shook. Me and Ira was talking on the phone, man. That red zone gonna be just unstoppable, dude. You can either pound it in with Derrick Henry or run some read option with Lamar Jackson. It's gonna be crazy. And you got Mark Andrews at tight end still.
Yeah.
It's gonna be wild. But however, I was telling Ira the receiving core not that good.
Yeah, that receiving
So
core is
no offense to them, they got Zay Flowers. He's good.
He's
but
good.
like Bateman and all those other.
They cut
dudes.
Odell today.
Yeah, they cut Odell today.
Yeah.
So I mean, they look all right receiving wise. But at the same time, I was sick, and the Cowboys are tripping for not picking up Derrick Henry.
I would have gave him whatever he wanted.
They are tripping.
I ain't
They
gonna
should
lie.
did that.
I would have liked to see Derrick in that white and blue.
That'd been nice.
Yeah.
You know, and in the NFC. Get out of the
Yeah,
AFC.
bro. You
know?
in our
Yeah.
you still and now you're in our division. We got to see you
gotta
twice a
deal
year.
with this cat.
Yeah, well, he got to deal with us. How about that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
hey, straight up though, I'm not scared,
Yeah.
man. And I know Derrick Henry, he had a good year last year. I'm trying to be optimistic, but I think with Patrick Queen doing his thing with us, I think with our defense, especially with Mike Tomlin, this dude's he's a schematic genius when it comes to defense. So
Yeah. Sure.
I think us going 10-7 last year and our defense holding up. I think this year, man, I want all the smoke. I don't care who it is.
Yeah.
Henry signing with the Ravens is scary because
is.
we saw the Ravens last year. They ran the ball 6 times against the Chiefs.
Yeah.
If they don't do that, they probably get to the Super Bowl.
100%.
So
They led the league in rushing with Gus Edwards. No offense to Gus, he's good.
yeah,
but
he's not Derrick Henry.
He's not Derrick Henry. Yeah, exactly. That's
So-
why I'm kind of like, ooh.
Yeah, so I'm very excited for this football season, especially our division, man. Our division is gonna be like the wild, wild west.
Man, it's
Yeah.
tough.
Because
Especially
Burrow's
'cause
back.
I think Deshaun Watson gonna turn it around this
Yeah.
year too. I think he had so much going on between things going on in his physical body,
Sure.
but his mental stability.
Yeah,
I
it was a
mean,
lot.
after his accusations, if you will,
Yeah.
came out, that can affect anybody.
Anybody.
Especially how many people was
A lot.
it?
20 plus.
Too many.
I almost said 100. I'm tripping.
Yeah, too many.
20 plus
20
people coming out saying the same thing. It's tough.
Yeah.
And then Burrow's back, but at the same time, the Cincinnati they cut Joe Mixon, or traded him to the Texans. So
Saw that.
and
Well,
then,
word on the street is they might be trying to trade for Jefferson.
Yeah, well, they
Justin
tried.
Jefferson.
They
Did
tried with T. Higgins. I saw a report. Cincinnati offered Minnesota 2 first-round picks and T. Higgins for Justin Jefferson, if I got it right. Cincinnati offered them that, and then Minnesota said we're good.
Wow.
Me personally, I would have took it, especially now Cousins is gone.
Yeah.
We're rebuilding. Sam Darnold's y'all quarterback. Y'all probably in a rebuilding time. I would have took those 2 picks and T. Higgins and then gave Cincinnati Jefferson. But, I'm glad Jefferson ain't in our division.
Man,
that boy's
that's
nice.
too much.
I'll tell you that.
That boy is good.
It'd be our division against the world, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, Saquon Barkley, man, leaves New York Giants. They don't pay him. Goes right down the street to the division rival Philadelphia Eagles.
Crazy.
We all know if you watched last year, the Eagles were good. They kind of they kind of ran off the tracks there the last 4 or 5 weeks of the season.
Yeah.
They did.
But now with that run game from Saquon still got a lot of game in him too. I mean, he's one of the best running backs in the league.
Sure.
By far, most explosive running backs in the league. The home run hitter. That's something that the Eagles really haven't had since LaShawn McCoy. And I mean, that back in that time, y'all boys were in high school.
Yeah.
So it's been some time since they've had a running back like that. That's really a game breaker, and it takes a little bit of pressure off of Jalen Hurts as well. So can't sleep on Philly. How do y'all feel about Saquon going there?
And that's going to be good. I mean, Jalen Hurts ain't got to play running back no more. Like you said,
Yeah.
No more tush push.
No more tush
good.
push. Now they can just hand the ball up the gut. But Saquon's good, man. He's very explosive. Their O-line's still good. Yeah, Kelsey retired, but they'll find a good center. They'll find somebody to replace that. Like you said, bro, there's really not much to say. Shaquan's a good pickup.
No, I don't like the- I don't
they
like the
didn't go
move.
wrong with that one. You don't like it?
Nah, boy, they call him Snake Quan on Twitter.
Snake Quan.
Yeah, man. You went to the
You see
division
Tiki
rival.
Barber trying to slander him?
Yeah.
Yeah, Tiki Barber.
Tiki Barber told that brother, "You dead to me."
Yeah.
Wow.
Which is crazy. It's football, man.
Tiki-
Come on.
Man, these
Tiki-
cats
yeah,
You
trying
put
to-
that man in the grave.
Yeah, like,
Yeah,
hey,
like,
I
that's
saw,
wild.
I saw somebody on Twitter. You know how Tiki Barber and Saquon Barkley was beefing. Somebody said if Patrick Queen like the Ravens to the Steelers. They said if Ray Lewis said what Tiki Barber said, Patrick Queen got to go in witness protection because Ray don't play them games.
So stupid.
That is funny.
Okay, but no,
So stupid.
but no.
That's
Me
funny.
personally, I
Dang.
think the Eagles kind of jacked up because and we saw the Eagles last year. They weren't. Their offense was super powerful, but their defense had holes, especially the secondary. I think they should have put some of that money towards the DBs. They should have got a L'Jarius Sneed, somebody like that on the market that they could have paid. I think they're getting Saquon more like a luxury, but I think between Swift and Gainwell and those guys they could have worked it out because I think they had the top 5 rush last year. So I feel like this is more like it's kind of like a shiny toy.
Yeah, for sure.
But,
I feel you.
but it's like, bro, y'all should have filled the hole. Y'all secondary was trash last year. Big play slaying them guys. He got hurt. Like, I don't know. I think it backfired straight up.
Yeah, I mean,
I didn't think of it that way.
I'm not
That's a good
scared. I'm not
perspective.
scared of Philly at all. Like, I think it backfires for them. And I just know it's gonna be some beef on that 1 yard line for who could get that touchdown. Hurts and Saquon, they're gonna
I
be
think
fighting
with Jason
for it.
Kelsey retiring, though, I feel like the brotherly shove. I like that version of it better. I don't know if it works like how it is because if you watched Jason Kelsey, how he snapped it, he's in 4-point stance, snapped that ball, and how he ducked down. Not every center can do that. Most centers is stiff. He was more elusive because he used to play linebacker, believe it or not. And shout out to him too, man. 13-year career, most starts ever in Eagle history. He won a Super Bowl, could have been 2. But he's got the #1 podcast in the world right now with his brother.
Wow,
They just won the iHeart podcast podcast of the year.
Wow.
Just this past weekend. So, I mean, shout out to them. Of course, Taylor Swift fans is helping that. They views and everything like that.
My God.
Because they love Travis, boy. And I guess Travis loves them back.
Travis can't jack that up, man. This Swift is gonna hate that boy forever.
Man,
Forever.
because I don't see them, in the long haul like being married or nothing. But if he don't marry her, boy, he gonna have a lot of people hating him.
The Swift is gonna hate him.
They gonna hate him.
He's not gonna be in all them commercials.
Yeah,
No more.
all his the Swift is gonna be in the comments like Taylor Swift owns you, like trolling him.
Right now, it's good for his brand.
It's great for his brand.
It is.
Matter of fact,
Brand
him and Patrick, they're coming out with they just announced yesterday a steakhouse in Kansas City.
Oh,
It's
wow.
called 1587, which is pretty dope between him and Patrick.
Oh, man.
Oh, that's
yeah,
what's
yeah,
up.
I just saw that. 1587, that's what it's called. So it's gonna be like our Maestro City Hall type deal.
yeah.
But that place gonna be flooded with Swifties, man. They're going in there getting all the tomahawks.
Oh, yeah.
Doing everything they can.
They need to slow their roll because that 3-peat ain't happening.
Yeah, I mean,
Man,
I can't put nothing past him.
listen, they're
Unfortunately,
good.
I can't,
One,
bro.
after this past season, I'm not betting against Patrick Mahomes. I put him in the category with Tom. You can't bet against him.
yeah.
You can't do it.
There hasn't been a 3-peat ever.
No, I don't
I
even
don't
know.
think so.
There's never been a 3-peat.
Has anyone been?
No.
Has anyone won 2 and then made it to the Super Bowl the next year?
I doubt it.
I doubt it.
I think we'd have to do
doubt
research
it.
on
Of
that.
course,
don't
I
I
think-
know
know,
the Steelers never done it. The Cowboys never done it.
No.
I don't think the
Niners.
Patriots never did
never
it.
done it.
Nope.
No NFL team has won 3 consecutive NFL Super Bowls.
I don't see it happening.
Nobody.
Man,
Because come on, even this year, y'all, like they shouldn't even won it all
I mean,
this
they
year.
limped in there.
Yeah.
But
They
at the end of the
shouldn't
day, they got hot at the right
And
time.
I watched those
Didn't
brothers
the-
get whooped by the Raiders on Christmas.
Yeah, that was
and
bad.
the Raiders did not throw a pass in the
didn't.
second half.
They didn't throw a pass.
You can Google that.
Yep. They
Didn't
ran
throw a
the ball.
pass in the second half and still beat them. And then a month later, these cats is holding up the Lombardi. I don't
couldn't
get
believe
it.
it.
Crazy.
I don't get it. They made a deal with the devil.
That is
Nah,
bad.
seriously.
Didn't the Bills go to
That's
4 in a row?
Yeah.
The Bills went to 4 in a
they
row.
lost
They
all
lost all 4.
I witnessed that.
I'd rather just not go.
Man.
One of the players said that does not define our legacy. I'm like, somebody needs to get him off TV.
Yeah.
That's why he's on the TV, because of your
Like,
legacy,
brother,
dog.
That is your legacy.
That's your legacy.
Iris said, I'd rather not go.
Hey, for real, though. I'd rather lose in the conference
And
championship.
it's
Yeah, it's
sad
not
they
going.
should have won at least one of those 4.
Yeah.
Their kicker missed like a 43.
That first one.
47 yarder or something like that. It was
Yeah.
either 43 or 47.
Man.
Yeah, he got hate mail for years.
You know
Dang.
what's
Against the New York Giants.
Caesar hit that in high school.
He sure did. Shout out my boy C's. You know what's hilarious though? The documentary's on Netflix. And so I was watching it the other day. It's called like The Four Falls of Buffalo.
Wow.
Yeah, so I was watching the documentary just like because I obviously was too young to remember.
Yeah,
You know, all this
right.
happened in like early 90s or mid 90s. And so I was watching all the losses, and my daughter, Lay, she comes into the room and she goes, "Daddy, why do they keep losing?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "Listen, baby, they was going through it because Yeah, she walked in the first time, saw they losing their first one. They laid out on the field crying. 30 minutes, she come back, and they in different uniforms, hands on hips again. And she looks at me, she goes, Daddy, why do they keep losing?
That is insane.
I witnessed that. It was terrible.
Man, not good. Speaking of 4 in a row, man, Kirk Cousins has broke the bank again in the NFL, and I don't understand it. The Atlanta Falcons just signed his brother to 180 million for 4 years. 100 million of it is guaranteed. He has 1 playoff win in his career.
Off an Achilles tear.
Off of an Achilles tear. He's 36, I believe, which will take him into his 40s when he goes ahead and calls it quits. I'm assuming this will be his last big contract. But I don't know if this was a great move. I know they traded Ritter to the Cardinals on yesterday, so they're for sure, rolling with Kirk for the next 4 years in that division. I don't understand it. You've got a lot of. I don't understand.
And he went to Atlanta?
He's in Atlanta now.
See, you got Cam Newton, who's won more playoff games, went to a Super Bowl, and he's still sitting at home. I get it, his ego. We talked earlier, his ego's big. He got the wicks and whatnot. Like, people don't want to see all that. But how can you sit there and just disrespect him like that? Not even give him a chance.
You know what I think
Not
did
even
it?
A pickup. That's wrong.
You know what I think did it, man? I think that the Atlanta front office saw Cam Newton choke slamming people last week, and they decided, man, we can't sign him.
I would have signed him. That boy, 4th and 1, he getting that every time.
Yeah. Somebody said he looked like he still got pocket presence.
Yeah,
That's funny.
Yeah, but
give him a brotherly shove. That's a first down every
time.
No, the whole Cousins thing, it's very, and Cousins was doing his thing in Minnesota. Of course, it helps he had the best receiver in the NFL, Justin Jefferson. But Atlanta's definitely a poverty franchise. They had never won anything. They blew the Super Bowl 2017. They blew that. That was their second appearance ever. They never have been like a good front office, good team. So it is what it is at this point. Like, as I'm getting older, I'm really starting to see a lot of these poverty franchises. They're gonna stay poverty franchises.
They just gonna stay what they are.
And even if Atlanta they have nice pieces. Of course, Bijan Robinson, Kyle Pitts, Drake London. They have a solid defense. And last year they almost made the playoffs. We're fighting in that division, even though that division's weak. But I don't know. I just wouldn't have gave a guy that much money going into his 40s. I think they were better off getting Justin Fields.
Of course.
Trying that off. Justin Fields from Atlanta area.
From Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I'm going to try that young guy who's 24, 25, see what he can do. But, I think this is just desperation, especially off of an Achilles injury.
Right.
This isn't like a something minor. This is an Achilles injury. So, I'm gonna let ATL be ATL.
Yeah, let them be what they do.
They're gonna go 8 and what's the record now? 8 and 9.
Yeah, around there.
Oh, y'all see they're trying to add another game?
Which is crazy.
You serious?
Yes.
They at this point it's a money grab because they're playing in Brazil this year, which is kind of all right, that's cool, but now they're trying to get a home team in Germany.
Yeah.
And or I'm sorry, is it Germany or Russia? One of the two.
That's London.
Or London. They're trying to get an actual NFL team there, which is to me that I pride ourselves as American. American football is us. They got soccer. Y'all go ahead. Y'all keep on playing. Y'all got the World Cup. Right. Let's keep America in America.
They're trying to make it like the NBA, more global. But football is way more
This is the
different.
National Football League, not the International Football
League.
Right. Come on, bro.
Right. Or maybe how about the NFL starts a sister league over there, and have
maybe that
the Germany Argonauts play against whoever. I mean, I don't know. That's just my opinion.
But they're trying to move it to another. Trying to add another game, man. They trying to get these players killed, man. by 2050, it's gonna be a 40-game season. Dude's gonna be limping to the end of the year.
Right,
man. Listen, that's too much, man.
It's gonna be the league of the CCE.
Listen, football's already brutal enough once a week.
It ain't gonna be 52-man roster, no. It's gonna be 152-man rosters.
Yeah,
they're gonna have to have dude ready to go.
They might call us, see if we can just be a reserve.
Yeah.
Shoot,
yeah,
it's
man.
gonna be like the Army. You never know.
Still got some gas in the tank.
A little bit of gas in the tank. Let's go ahead and transition into what's going on in the world right now. Just last week, I know a lot of people have seen it. If you haven't, you can go ahead and check it out. It's all over the internet, all over YouTube, wherever you get your information from. But Todd Tribbett just basically shot himself in the foot. He was on the Breakfast Club with Charlamagne the God and DJ Envy, and ended up saying some comments that basically rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. I know it rubbed me the wrong way. Basically, he was saying the church is whack. He mentioned it, I want to say 2-3 different times, but he didn't really expound or explain what he meant by that. I think you kind of took that information and put it in a whole broad category of church is whack, don't go to church. That's the way I took it at first.
Yeah.
He has since recanted and is trying to like explain what he really meant. But I mean, I don't know. Are y'all buying that? How do you feel about it, Bob?
You know, I was disappointed. You know, the Bible says in James 1:19, it says, "Be slow to speak, and quick to hear, and slow to anger." And so, I guess he went on to say that he was mainly talking about the system of the church. You know, and I'm thinking, you know, the church needs systems. Your church needs structure. So there are different things that we need in order for this thing to be healthy and strong, if you will. You know, even us, we pride ourselves not just on our Sunday message and our Wednesday message, but we even pride ourselves on how we work behind the scenes, making sure that things are in place, you know, like having small groups and delegating and, you know, making sure our praise team is where it needs to be and so on and so forth, you know. But now he's saying, I guess I was watching something just briefly. He was in his vehicle and he made the comment that he was more talking about how we have people that are pharisaical in the church and that are religious and dogmatic and legalistic, which we do.
Sure.
But I wish he would have expounded maybe more on the Breakfast Club about that. He should have kind of went into that vein, because there are different people that are in the church that are legalistic, that are dogmatic, that still are more law-driven than grace-driven, are more behavior-driven than blood-driven. And I believe the church needs to be more blood-driven than behavior-driven, because John 8:7 says, "He without sin cast the first stone." And I believe that there's a lot of churches that preach from that posture, if you will, which we should. We should be preaching more from a grace more than we should law, if you will.
Yeah.
Because John 8:7 says, "He without sin cast the first stone."
Yeah.
When people come to church on Wednesday night and Sunday morning, it's a whole bunch of imperfect people that show up on Sundays, along with the pastor that's leading the flock as well.
right.
You know, so at the end of the day, again, it says, "He without sin cast the first stone." So I wish he would have more expounded more on that, because you do have some pastors that have given the church a bad name, if you will, based on their teachings and being more law, more beating the people up on Sunday and not building the people up on Sunday. So I wish he would have more or less expounded more on that, if you will. So in a nutshell, he said it in his vehicle the other day that he was more saying how there's too many Pharisees in the church still. So in a nutshell, that's what he said he was more talking about. I wish he would have, again, expounded more on that on the Breakfast Club.
And I don't know what churches he's really talking about, because I mean, yeah, you do have your pharisaical people out there, the religious people that are judging everybody, of course.
Right.
But I mean, this day and age, man, I feel like church is more happy-go-lucky if you think about it. You know, if you look at a lot of these social media pastors and podcasters and stuff like that, for the most part, I feel like grace and mercy is talked about.
Sure.
You know, now I'm sure if you go down south and, you know, in different areas of the country, there you will find a lot of religious folk. And then, of course, when it comes to different denominations as well, with us being non-denominational, I feel like you don't see a whole lot of that. But you might feel that at a Baptist church. You might feel that at a Kojic church.
Right.
You know, people don't even understand that there are different denominations and what those mean. So, I mean, from the elementary-minded believer or someone who doesn't know the Lord, when you just say the church is whack, it comes off like all the church, everybody involved is whack and in it for the fishes and the loaves.
Right.
And everybody's going to hell. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I think that's where you just got to be careful.
Got to be careful.
On what you say and in the context that you say it, because you just don't want anybody confused.
Exactly.
You know, you could have just convinced somebody who's never been to never go.
I was just about to say that.
Exactly.
You know,
kind of pushing people away from the church when you say things like
Exactly.
that, especially with his the pedestal that he's on, that
Right.
God put him
Yeah.
on, like the church put him on
Sure,
that.
he's got
And then you're gonna
influence.
sit back and say that it's whack. Like I understand he didn't mean it in like any ill intent way. I feel that,
Yeah.
and y'all covered that real good, by the way. But at the same time, again, to an elementary Christian, somebody
Right.
who's brand new,
Right.
you messing up their brain. Now you causing confusion,
Right.
And Satan is the master of confusion,
Better
and
believe
we don't want
it's
that.
good.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I feel where he's coming from. I see his standpoint. Some people can be, like Isaiah said, back east, down south, and I've been to those churches up in
Yeah.
Lynchburg. I went to a couple churches. I'm like, dang, I'm going to hell.
I'm going
Right.
to
You know
hell.
what I mean?
Right.
But
Gasoline draw.
Yeah.
but you know, then I
Right.
come here to Kingdom, and I'm like, okay, my pastor's building me up, telling me I can march through it, I can
Right.
do this, I can get through the storm.
Exactly.
You know, so that's really all I have to say about it. I just kind of wish he wasn't so broad on what he
Right.
said. You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying? So
Yeah, he definitely should have colored it up better, especially on a radio show like The Breakfast Club. You know, that's good. And it's syndicated to so many people. And, you know, people go on there. You know, it's Charlamagne the God, DJ Envy. They've been doing it. It's just hilarious now. But when they had Angela Yee, like, this has been going. Breakfast Club been around how many years now?
Man,
13,
long time.
14?
20, 30?
Long time.
Probably 13,
13?
14
Okay,
years.
okay.
Like, Breakfast Club has been around, and it's been prominent. People go there, get what they need to get. So, you know, a person like Ty Tribbett, which is he's a legend in the gospel realm, for him to jump on there and to say that, and we get what you mean, but we get it.
Right.
Yeah.
We're in the church. We've been
Right.
doing it. We know that people are judgmental. People will sit back there, and you walking in with a hat on and a jersey, you going to hell. Where's your suit at? Where's your slacks?
Oh, you're a man. You got ear. You got your ears.
You got your
pierced?
ears pierced. You wearing them women's earrings. Like,
You're right.
you know, we've seen all that. So, you know, I love the fact that our church is very, you know, come as you are, but you want to stay as you are.
Right.
That's been your push since, you know, 2005, since you started the church.
Yeah.
We don't care what you're wearing. We don't care how you look, what you're going through. We're, you know, the point of you being in here is to get you out of here in a better position.
That's
Right.
right.
So I feel what he says by that, but the average listener that was just, you know, riding their bike with their AirPods in or driving their car or listening to the radio and heard that, that already has a confliction and struggles with, you know, Christianity and how the church is working. They could have been saying, you know what, dang, he is right. He just nailed in the point.
Right.
Yeah.
I was already teetering about my spiritual walk. He's right. These church folks, and they're not gonna need context or more. They're already teetering with their thoughts about Christianity and how the church works. Because a lot of young people nowadays, they're very big on that. I'm not religious. You know, I
stay away from
yeah,
church.
I stay
People
away
say
from church.
I'm not
Or-
religious,
yeah,
I'm spiritual.
Yeah, or I don't have
Yeah.
to, or I don't have to go to church to be a Christian. I don't have to go to church. That doesn't prove anything. Basically, it's you know, that's what it is now. So, him being in that position with a prominent voice on that big of a platform, definitely could have, you know, thought before he said that, for
sure.
or even colored it up better in that moment. But you know, it is what it is at this point. He can jump on his IG and say what he wants to say, but the damage is done to the, like you said, to the elementary, to the average
Yeah.
person.
Yeah.
And you know, hopefully to anybody who comes on there in the future that is in, you know, in the ministry can try to do better, because in 2024 stuff's really going downhill, and
Yeah.
for you
Exactly.
to say stuff like that, and y'all know how it is. Stuff gets, you know, snippets and cuts and sound bites are huge.
Right.
So it's like,
Right.
man, you got to be careful with everything you say. Even us talking on here straight up,
Yeah.
you got to be careful, because
Yeah.
people will take things and run with it, just like you, Dad, with the whole,
right.
you know, the
3 Ps and
know,
3
Yeah,
Ds.
man.
and I get it was, you know, it was kind of colorful what you said, a little suggestive, but come on, we grown adults in the church. This
Right.
the little kids in children's ministry. What you said was real too at the
Right.
end of the day.
Right.
And you know,
Right.
a lot of folks just being critical, and they can do what they want to do, but you know, hopefully this
Right.
blows over
It
and
will.
people it wasn't too much damage done.
Nah,
Right.
I think it'll be fine.
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
so.
yeah.
Speaking of everything being fine, man, we just hit our 4-year anniversary. I don't want to call it an anniversary, but it's been 4 years since COVID-19 was officially announced by the CDC, and the world changed in so many ways. I feel like even now in 2024, we're still getting back to, you know, how things were and once were, and some things will never go back to how it was. You know, you look at certain things like Redbox. If y'all remember Redbox, you can get
Man,
those.
you get the DVDs.
Yeah, but like, you know, you look at little things like that that'll never come back. I guess my question is, man, where were y'all when you first found out, or what was your first experience with COVID 4 years ago?
I just got done preaching on a Sunday morning, and I went to sleep that afternoon. And your mom, your mom woke me up, and she said, "Honey, you're not going to believe it, but our governor just came out and said we can't have a gathering next Sunday for church.
Crazy.
And I looked at her like, he said, what? And she said, yeah, we can't have a gathering. She said the most we can have in attendance is 10 people.
10 people.
And she said, look like probably next Sunday you're going to be staring at a camera, and the people everybody's going to have to be online.
Crazy.
And thank God, we've been online for probably 15 years.
Sure.
Yeah.
We were ahead of the curveball because I know there were some churches that were scrambling.
They had to figure it out that week.
Buy equipment that week and stuff.
For real.
Because I'll be honest with you, speaking of whack, I thought online ministry was whack.
Yeah,
right.
Like 15 years ago.
For sure.
I'll never forget, your mom had to have surgery, and she stayed home. And when I got done preaching, at that time we were doing 3 or 4 services on Sunday.
Right.
I went home, and she was waiting by the door like, baby, that was a good message. And I'm like, how dare you say that was you were at home drinking coffee.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
She's
Yeah.
like,
You ain't saved.
right. But she was like, but honey, I still got an awesome experience here at the house. And I'm like, man, please.
Right.
I'm thinking I'm all about butts and seats, but obviously over the years, my perception has shifted.
Of course.
Right.
And so it took me a while to kind of pivot, if you will, because I'm thinking, man, if you really love God, you'll be in the house.
Right.
Where now I'm like, hey, listen, however you get it, get it.
They in the house. They in their house.
Right.
Yeah, for real. They in the house for real.
Right. Literally in the house. Literally.
For real.
But nevertheless, I'm grateful that we had that ball been rolling for, when COVID came in 2000 in March, of course, or 2020 March, we were already 12, 13 years later as far as streaming.
Yeah.
But it was definitely knocked the wind out of me when I found out that we were going to have to pivot and have to just kind of look in the camera with no audience. And,
Right.
because, when you're in the church and you're preaching as a pastor, you're feeding off of the people. There's anointing in the building. There's an energy you feel, and so it was different to stand flat-footed with nobody in front of you.
Right.
But we thank God we were able to pull it off. But that's where I was in bed, sleep, when my wife woke me up and told me that. And then of course, then the shot came into place.
Man.
People started, lining
Yeah.
up for that. And
Hey, if you got the COVID shot, comment in the chat. We want to hear from I'm joking.
Of course, the 4 of us at this table made the decision to not do it.
Yeah.
Right.
And I was thrown under the bus by different leaders and things of that nature, telling me that I was a reckless leader, that I wasn't getting the shot.
I got called a
But,
monster. A girl,
is that
yeah,
right?
a girl sent me on Snapchat, sent me a long old message because I said I wasn't getting it.
You sure this wasn't just a girl you dated before?
Nah, it was like a homegirl. She like was calling me a monster.
She called you a monster.
monster.
God,
Yeah,
no.
like, you're selfish.
you didn't get vaccinated.
I'm selfish. I'm like, man, this is my personal decision. Like,
Well,
Yeah.
the thing
You
with
know?
the vaccination, since we're going there, the thing that I didn't understand was you would still get sick.
Yeah.
Even if you
gives
got
you
it.
COVID.
Yep.
But they said that it would help not spread it, which didn't make sense because if I have it and you don't have I'll just give it to you.
Yeah.
Well, no, I'm
So,
sorry.
like,
Let's backtrack.
Yeah.
It started off. Remember, they said at first, if you get the vaccine, you won't get.
You
COVID.
won't get it, right.
Then it turned into you actually get COVID, but it's not as
It's not as
severe. So it's
Right.
like, what is it? Y'all said me not getting it, and then then it said if you get the shot, you'll contract COVID, then you won't be able to get it again. Then people who got the shot got COVID again.
Right.
So it's like
Right.
it's a lot. It was a lot of
of
and,
confusion.
yeah, and I'm not
Yeah.
gonna be up here and be a test monkey. You're not gonna just
Right.
put it in
Real
me.
talk.
And, and I'm all for vaccinations. So don't I don't want nobody in the comments trying to come for me. I'm all for vaccinations.
Let your kid get the measles shot.
I'm for it.
The tetanus shot.
The
Whatever
chick-
you need
the
to do.
chicken pox.
I believe in proven shots,
Right.
Proven things
Right.
that with
That's
tests,
good.
with trials.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
people try to, and to each his own. At the end of the day, I'm not,
Yep.
I'm not gonna
To
sit up
each his
here
own.
and people, you're not gonna muzzle me. I wasn't no big person. I'm not wearing that goddamn mask. I'm not, people was tripping, getting kicked off lanes. We're not that over here. We're not over here tripping.
Right.
So, but we just didn't rock with that. We're like,
Right.
we don't want to just, be,
Right.
we don't know 20, 30 years from now how stuff could happen.
And-
And, thank God, with our following, not only our father, but our pastor, our leader,
Yeah.
you and mom, y'all definitely were, not running in fear, or you guys kind of marched to your own drum, and I respect it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
And I'll be honest with you, I did not spend one day in prayer about it.
Yeah.
I just knew from day one, I'm not getting it. And you hit on the nail, Ira. I'm not putting something in my body that hasn't been proven.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
it was really a common sense decision for me.
Yeah.
Where I have friends praying about it, calling me and saying, hey, man, I'm going to do it. I prayed about it. And I'm like, hey, to each his own. I didn't throw anybody under the bus that decided to move forward with it.
Sure.
But don't throw me under the bus because
Yeah,
I chose not to
attacking
do
us.
it.
Yeah.
We got attacked. I even had family members attack me, and all my family members that wind up getting the shot and said they weren't going to get the virus wind up getting it anyway.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And since then, some of them have had it 2 and 3 times.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So,
And I hate to bring this up. Let's not talk about the people who passed away, even still as they had the vaccine. That was a real stat going on too. Like, what was the point of you even getting that shot? Some of them shots probably killed people because their bodies couldn't get used to it.
Yeah,
like,
one of my friends, Frankie.
Frankie passed.
Unfortunately, he got the shot, and 8 days later, he passed away.
And then it turns into a whole like a witching, process. It turns into a whole. We're gonna, what's wrong with you? You didn't get it. You're selfish. You're this. Kyrie Irving, they did Kyrie wrong. Kyrie lost millions of dollars.
He couldn't even play it. He was able to play at home, right?
No, he couldn't play at home. He could play away. He couldn't play in New York because New York state law.
Got it.
Which doesn't make
he couldn't be in. He
sense.
couldn't be in. But the team said it's fine. The opposing player said it's fine. It's all good. But he could play away. And then that turned into him. Eventually, he's in Dallas right now playing because that stuff. He said it was basically the bridge was burned.
Yeah,
because they made promises that didn't happen. But back to the topic though. But first off, COVID. I remember I was in Rosarito, Mexico. I was in a spring break trip for my birthday. I was at an Airbnb, me and all my friends, group of some people. We were all out there turned up, whatever. I remember I'm like, we're all just chilling, about to go out. I remember my mom calls me. I'm like, of course we heard about the COVID stuff. We're hearing rumors that stuff's shutting down and whatever. But I'm like, man, this is nothing, man. This is nothing crazy. The world ain't ending. The world's not gonna stop for nothing. I'm thinking it's gonna keep running.
I think everybody was thinking that.
Yeah, I'm like, the beat goes on, like, whatever. I remember my mom called me and she called me freaking out like, Ira, you need to get home right now. They're shutting the borders down. This thing's real. Get home. And it's hung up.
And before she called you, she called me. You need to go get them.
Yeah.
You got to go to Mexico and get them.
I'm like, what's going on? So I remember all my friends, like, their parents are calling. So, I had some people jumped on planes that day, jumped in their cars and left. So I'm like, wow, this is a real thing. Borders, they're calling me. The borders packed out. Everybody's trying to get out of there. So I remember being like, I'm just going to sit back here and wait it out. So I remember me and my friends, we all waited it out. I remember we got back to San Diego to the border. I remember with the Chili's, and in the Chili's, there was no one in there, and like they didn't have salt or pepper or ketchup. Nothing was sitting there. Like you guys can only be in here 40 minutes, basically eat and leave.
Wow.
And then I remember being like, yo, what is going on?
Crazy.
Like, I remember getting back to the house. I remember I was still living at home. I remember I was talking to you. Yeah. I remember me and you were sitting there talking. I was like, Dad, what we gonna do? And you were like, man,
Gonna have church.
We gonna still have church?
Jeez.
I remember I could see in your face though. I was feeling a little scared at first, but talking to you,
Yeah.
we were like, we'll be fine. We'll get through this. We do live stream. It's just gonna jump. We don't have to do live stream. People have to jump on.
Yeah.
So church will still go. The world will still get out.
I feel like for me, I didn't really believe it until I pulled up at the gym one day, and there were no cars in the parking lot, and I was thinking in my head like, what's going on? And I walked up to the door, and on Mountainside's door, it had a whole note basically saying, "We are closed until further notice."
Wow.
And that's when I realized, okay, this is
serious. Really going down.
Yeah.
Like this is like a serious ordeal. And then, of course, I ended up contracting it.
Yeah.
Devin, my wife, she contracted it, and she was pregnant with my youngest daughter at that time, which was scary for us because people were passing away. I knew that wasn't gonna come nigh to us, but still, it was still like scary to know. Like, dang, I was can't smell and can't taste. Like,
Man,
I really can't.
I remember that.
Couldn't smell. We had just got our house cabinets painted, and paint is one of the strongest smell. We're doing some painting at the church right now, and you can smell that thing all through the church. That I couldn't smell the paint in my house.
That's crazy.
In my house. And that's when I was like, and we had to get a hotel because I'm like, well, I can't have, my daughter was only 3 at the time. I can't have her walking around here high. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know what I mean? I had a little Layla being high at the house, and because mommy and daddy can't smell it. So, that's when I was like, wow, this is really happening.
Man, dude.
It was crazy.
I knew it was happening when before every practice and before anything we did, they had to shove that Q-tip up my nose. I had to get tested before every workout. I was still in Virginia because I came back home that like August, September, but in that March I was still there for spring ball, and I knew it was bad because that spring ball game nobody was in the stands, nobody in the stadium. Usually it'd be a nice little crowd. You went to a spring game, it'd be a nice crowd, but there was nobody in there, and I'll never forget our coaches. We all had a meeting. Everybody was in there with a mask on. And I was like, wow, this is really going down. Because the day it happened, that's the same day we got a mass group chat from everybody. And we all met in the indoor facility. And then our coach ran it by us. Yeah.
Crazy. Y'all remember masks?
Man.
You couldn't go anywhere without one, man.
Nowhere.
Hey, you know what's crazy? I was on a plane the other day. I got back from Houston, and I was flying back. I had a little cough because, my allergies is jacking up. I'm in a different environment, whatever. My allergies are acting up. I remember being on the plane, and I was coughing. And I was like thinking to myself, like, yo, I remember when COVID.
If you coughed during COVID?
I remember being at COVID, like in a Safeway line or something like that, my mask on. Boy, if I had a sneeze or cough, boy, I had to damn near take off to the bathroom. Because you know how it was. If you were in line there, if you heard something like, in line, like
everybody looking like, you good?
Like,
you straight?
Hey, man, what's going on? I was laughing on the plane thinking like, yo, I remember being like during COVID, peak COVID, like if you were in a store, if you had a cough, you had to like really go under your shirt and like hide it.
Yeah.
You didn't want people thinking something's wrong with you because like this is a real thing. Like, and COVID was no joke. I had COVID a couple times, and my first like two times I was straight, but that third time, boy, I was down in the dumps.
Yeah.
My first time, it wasn't bad. I just couldn't taste or smell. Second time, man, I had the body aches. I couldn't get out of bed. It was bad, dude.
Yeah,
it was bad.
13 days with it.
Yeah.
I was tore up with that COVID, so I'm glad that's over. That was a weird time.
Man, it was such a, that's why I said let's talk about it today, because it's crazy
like
that's been 4 years,
No,
but it's
like what was that like for real? Like looking back at like what was that? Like I feels like a fever dream. Like I still remember being like, that's the first time I was questioning like, yo, is like the world gonna end, bro? Like,
over?
Is my family gonna
Will
pass?
we ever be back in church?
No, like I would be like, are my nieces gonna be okay? Like this is before this is how I'm thinking. I remember being like, yo, like am I gonna lose my family? Like am I gonna lose my life?
I remember driving around, bro, streets empty.
Yeah,
like,
hey, I was just about to say that. I knew it was
like,
real too. I remember being in Tempe. I was hanging out with some friends in Tempe at like an apartment complex. I remember I left. I remember I got some gas at It was a if you're familiar with Tempe, I was like on like Lemon Street. So like
I know where you
I'm by like Taco Bell and everything. There's a gas station right there, and it's always slamming. Like everybody just walking around.
Yeah,
it's Tempe. It's packed out. I remember getting gas and just like I remember it was dead silent. Like no one was on the streets.
Crazy.
No one was walking. I remember being like, yo, what is this? Like,
that's crazy.
I've never seen Tempe this quiet ever on a Friday night. I'm pumping gas and no one's even around me at all. So.
It was 100% one of the weirdest times, man. I thank God every day we made it through. Things are open.
God, my family made it.
Our family, we didn't lose anybody from COVID in our family.
Or no one was like hospital bound. Had no one
nothing,
was really jacked up.
Nothing like that,
God.
And our kids are safe. Our kids are healthy. Amen. Your grandchildren are good. I mean, you look at it from the standpoint of, man, we really just survived something crazy that's going to be in the history books. Years from now, we'll be able to tell our great grandkids, man, I lived in that whole situation.
What about the the quarantine in 2020? And also too to the people who lost family members and stuff like that. We're not undermining you at all.
Condolences to everybody.
Even the whole vaccine stuff, like we know people, there's people out here that lost people in that time. And that's no laughing matter because our whole perceptions of everything would be different. If we did lose someone. So it just was a very unfortunate time. And I know when when I got my kids and they hit 6th, 5th grade, whenever they got DBQ, a document-based question or whatever they learned.
DBQ, they ain't heard that in a minute.
They're gonna ask me, so Dad, what was going on in the pandemic of 2020? Like, talk to me about it. I can, I was 20 or I just turned 21 during that time, so I can really give them like a real breakdown.
I ain't gonna lie, the interview they give me, I'm gonna make it seem like it was way worse than
I'm gonna tell my kids. I was dropping like,
I'm gonna tell them. I'm like, y'all ever seen The Happening or like? I'm gonna spawn the movie The Fog. Remember the movie The Fog? I'm gonna throw it on. The Mist. Hey, y'all watch The Mist.
That's what I was like in 2020, but we survived it, man. It was. I love the fact we came to on the other side, and like Ira said, if you did lose somebody, our condolences to you all. And we're just gonna keep it pushing. as life has continued to go on and accelerate, even at that,
Definitely sped things up.
It's definitely sped things up. It doesn't feel like 4 years, but it's been
it's been 4 years.
It's been 4 years this month that COVID was officially announced, and so.
And I was even told it was going to take us about 4 years to rebuild our church.
Yeah.
And it literally it's taken 4 years. I mean, we're obviously now we're seeing a spike in our attendance.
100%.
At 9 and 11.
Yeah.
Even our Wednesdays picking back up.
Yeah.
Because we lost quite a few people during that whole transition, but to see things at 4 years later building back up, it's been awesome to see.
Right, which is great to see. And speaking of church, man, I had an opportunity last night to preach here at Kingdom. I preached a message called "I'm Ready to Eat," coming out of Isaiah, the first chapter, verse 5, where the Bible says, "If you're willing and obedient, you will eat the good of the land."
Yeah.
And when it comes to eating the good of the land, that's everything that you want in your life, everything that you could think about. This is the season that you're going to be able to receive that thing and eat the good of the land. As we just talked about, 2020, there wasn't a whole lot of eating going along except for physical eating. Everybody gained 20 pounds in the pandemic.
That part.
But what the type of eating I'm talking about is long life, good health, that promotion that you want or that thing that you need in your life. This is going to be the season where you are literally going to eat. My 3 points is, number 1, you got to be willing. Number 2, you got to be obedient. And number 3, you got to seek the kingdom of God. I feel like a lot of people overlook seeking the kingdom of God because they don't understand what that really means. What that means is just us every single day giving the best effort to be more like Jesus.
That's it.
Obviously, we will never be Jesus. We will never be perfect, but we got to make a perfect effort.
That's right.
Every single day. Yeah. I know I'm going to probably sin today. All of us in this room are sinners. You may make a mistake or fall short, but it's all about that effort and doing the best that you can to make sure that you put yourself in a position where you can eat the good of the land. And a lot of us in the world these days, maybe you're going through a time where you're dealing with poverty. Maybe your pockets is empty. Maybe you're going through a divorce or a breakup, or your kids is driving you crazy. Whatever it may be. We believe wholeheartedly that if you say it, you'll see it, because death and life is in the power of the tongue. Right. And so my message last night was just letting people know, hey, listen, regardless of what you got going, you got to start saying, I'm ready to eat. I'm about to eat in this next season of my life. I'm about to see God's purpose come through. Prosperity, my pocket's gonna look better, my bank account's gonna look better, my marriage is gonna be better, my relationship with my kids is gonna be better. That's the kind of season that you gotta initiate, but you gotta say it. You gotta say that thing and believe it in your heart that that's exactly what God is going to do for you. So that was just really quick, brief recap of what that was, and it's eating season, man. I believe that.
I love it. I love your last point was about the kingdom. You came out of Matthew 6:33. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these other things will be added to you. And I'm a firm believer. I believe that God wants us to have things as long as things don't have us.
Right.
And that message was so powerful. And I love how even the title again was called
"I'm Ready to Eat."
I'm ready to eat. In Isaiah 1:19, it said, if you be willing and obedient. Let's not forget about the obedient part. You'll eat the good of the land. God wants us to eat the good of the land. He doesn't want us to have just leftovers or eating scraps.
Right.
I believe he wants us to, go from, we appreciate Jack in the Box, but we love a good filet mignon. You know what I'm saying? From
truffle butter.
Some
truffle
butter. I know that's right. Some sides.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. So at the end of the day, and some people, even today, I know personally have an issue when you teach a prosperity message, but it is the will of God. He said in 3 John, he said, I wish above all things that you prosper and be in health as your soul prosper. Even when you look up the word prosperity, it means to be whole and complete. And God wants us to be whole and complete in 3 areas. Number 1, he wants you to be whole and complete when it comes to your body. And then number 2, when it comes to your emotions. And number 3 is your pockets. It's the will of God. He said in John 10:10, I come that you might have life and that you might have it more abundantly. Even if you read Matthew chapter 7, verse 11, it says, if you being evil know how to give good gifts to your children, it says, how much more will your heavenly Father bless them that ask? Maybe you're not eating, the good of the land because you haven't asked.
Right.
James 4:2 says you have not because you ask not. And you just said it, Isaiah. If you say it, you'll see it.
That's right.
Proverbs 18:21 says death and life is in the power of the tongue. So I want to encourage you that are watching today, start putting some things in the atmosphere. Even Job 22:28, it says if you decree a thing, it shall be established. So everything that you're believing God for in 2024, I dare you to just start putting it in the atmosphere. I got some backlash years ago because I said, I'm a name it and claim it pastor. I said, name it and claim it, blab it and grab it. I believe in all of that.
Oh, yeah. Blab it and grab it. Blab it and grab it. That's hilarious.
Yeah, I believe in all of that.
Yeah.
Because even, a case in point, here it is, Hannah was barren, could not have children. She goes to God and she said, God, I want a male child. She named it and claimed it.
Yep.
And then finally, the priest at the time, Eli, he said, God has granted you your petition. He said, go in peace. Yep. And eventually, the Bible says, in the process of time, she gave birth to a son named Samuel, who eventually became a prophet to the nations.
Yep.
But she named it and she claimed it. I want to encourage you, if you're believing God for that race, name it and claim it. If you're believing for increase, name it and claim it. If you're believing for God to close that door, to open up a better door, start naming it, start claiming it, and then watch God do it for you.
That's right.
Amen.
That's
That was
great.
good.
That's great.
My point that hit the most to me was obedience.
Yeah.
And it's crazy too, because like if you're obedient to your parents, how and they reward you, how much more will God reward you with obedience to Him? You know what I mean? For example, Job lost everything, but guess what? He remained obedient. He remained faithful. He remained diligent, and God blessed him back 10 times for it. You know what I'm saying? I like the obedience part for real, because that's what I'm trying to focus on right now, is just to stay focused and obedient to the Lord for real.
Good.
Exactly. And you could also do like obedience and patience kind of go hand in hand. That's why I like too, because patience is definitely a virtue. And I feel like a lot of people, that's a lot of people's downfall, is them not waiting it out. If things happen, things aren't just gonna happen overnight. Things might not happen your way, go your way. You gotta actually sit back and let it happen. And also too, to get back to the kingdom, I love that we're not only our church name is Kingdom, but we're a kingdom church, because it's about community ultimately.
100%.
It's about everybody. It's not about how you're feeling and what you want.
Right.
It's about each one teach one, and to build around build the kingdom, build everybody up with it. So I love that we talk about that, and also too, to get back to what you just said, Dad, about prosperity. I just don't get how there's pastors out here that don't want to touch up on prosperity, or they want to bite their tongue talking about prosperity. And I feel like it's almost like a reflection of them. They probably don't want to reach that certain height. They're good with their little car and they little crib.
Barely making it.
Yeah, barely making it. Or they don't want to scare the people. You got big churches. You have people with living in large houses, have nice cars, and don't want to put that on the people. Right. Why are you gatekeeping? Right. Why are you naming it and claiming it? You blabbing it and grabbing it, but you ain't trying to let people get it. It doesn't make any sense. So I feel like as us in our position, especially my brother and my father, being stewards, being preachers, like they have. I love the fact that you make it a point to talk about prosperity and manifesting things and making sure they happen, because that's all you really can do sometimes. Straight up. You might not have all the resources, you might not have the answers, you might not know a person that can get you back on your feet. All you can do is really name it, claim it, write down the vision, and hope it happens. So
write the vision and make it plain.
Most definitely.
That's what it boils down to, man. That's what it boils down to. And hey, listen, really quick, if you've never had an opportunity to come visit us and you live in the Phoenix area, come on down to Kingdom Church, man. We have a 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. service every Sunday. And then we also have a midweek service at 7 p.m. So make sure you come on out, hang out with us. You get to meet us in person and, get some word in you, because we all need Jesus. Want to thank you all for watching another episode of Still Strong Podcast. Make sure you click that subscribe button, also the notification bell, so that way you get notified every time a new podcast drops. Thank you all so very much for watching this episode. We are in season 2. Can't wait to see you next week. We hope that you have the best week of your life. God bless.
Peace.